how self identity and self worth is hindering our process of achieving any endeavor, any goals. Because when it's come to self identity and self worth, we are we are a self being which is a set of programs and beliefs and the cultural upgradation or the upliftment where we have been living through, where we have been grown up, or what is the environment in which we have studied, what is our family background, what is our society's cultural impact in our all these things are the key thing when it's going to building or the cultivating the self-worth and self-identity. And if we are if we have been grown up with lack or the lack of the resources or the fear of or being accepted or the self-respect, or if we have been bullied, or the if we have been also kind of abused in our schooling or the college, because lot of there's a lot of incidents and news where we are listening that students and the peoples are getting bogged down with the all the external pressures and abusing everything. And something if there is some kind of trauma, if there have been uh, if there is a trauma happening with us during our upbringing of our life, all sorts of thing has a key indicator or the key thing to be considered when it's come to feelings or being the self-worth or raising the self-identity and the self-worth. Because unless and until we are not, if we are not believing in ourselves, we are believing in our worth. It means that we as a identity, as a self being, we have something to be worthy enough in order to do whatever we want to do. And somehow if we are challenged or the bounded by all these circumstances, external thing which may or may not true at the very moment, sometimes it is real, sometimes it is a non-real, sometimes it is a perceived reality also. So this will also causing us to not achieving our professional and our personal goal. And that's how fear of, like a fear of change or the fear of getting things done or fear of being successful. Because if there is a no evidence, no proof in our home or in our siblings, and something we try to do out of the box, and if it is not relevant to us in our family itself, then we are not believing in ourselves, we are not raising our self-worth, we surrender, we are accepting the way it is with our full surrenderness that this is not meant for me and I am not worthy to do things, because none of in our my entire family or the entire generation have done before. So who am I to do this? Second thing is a self-limiting belief. Self-limiting belief is any kind of a statement or the phrase or the, I can say that the saying from our society, from our teachers, schoolings, our culture, our perceived statements, whether it is a true, not true, whether it is for me or not me, I am against or against with or agree or disagree when it's come to doing a specific thing. For example, I have struggled a lot of when it's come to writing anything online, and I have a lot of fears and judgmental and criticism on that I cannot write because I am not a good in English. English is my not a native language. I have didn't studied in English medium. And what if it is the if I have been bound, and if we have not overcome this limiting belief, then it is not possible me to speak in English and making this video. And there is always been some hidden invisible fears is there, even though I am speaking right now. And sometime during the speak, there is a thing, there is a phrase comes, a story comes in my mind that no, I am not speaking with the correct grammars or the modalities like that. But if I am giving meaning to that, if I am experiencing that, then I am never going to be talk at all. And third thing is avoidance of challenge while building or having the limiting factor with self identity and self worth. Because low self worth might lead you to the avoid the challenge, because we are not ready to fight, we are not ready to tackle or the solve or the dissolve the challenge which is immediate in our hand, which is directly proportional to the our self worth, because anything which is so much deeper and core for us in a past during our childhood, our adulthood, or in our teenage time, and then we do try to do anything sort anything which is somehow it is related to those trauma or the experience, then we avoiding those kinds of challenges or problem, like having a starting a business, and none of we have failed a thing because some of our parents have been failed or our family members have been failed doing that. So we perceived and we compare our self-worth with those uh, unconquered or the unfinished goals or the endeavors, and we, instead of getting started, we keep the things putting off due to this limiting belief, and we try to avoid the challenge, we try to avoid the discomfort or the pain of being involved in this situation, and dependence on the external validation. When we are struggling with the low self confidence, lower self worth, or our self identity, we are always depending on the external thing. We are always seeking validations. We always taking try to approval from the others, which are one step ahead of us, from our parents, teachers, society, or our boss, immediate boss, whoever may be. And if our self-worth is heavily tied to the other's opinion, then we have not come up with the intuitive, independent, real idea or the endeavor that is this is going to help us in move forward. And we are always fluctuating between this external approval and validation can lead to the inconsistent effort and actions, and we we cannot find ourselves able or the capable enough to even go with that idea or the concept which may change our trajectory of our business or our life or our any relationship with us. And number five thing that is very daunting is that when we are struggling with the self identity and the self worth, resistant to feedback, it means that high identification with our current self might make you resistant to the feedback, because somewhere or something somewhere in our experience, life experience, in our job, in our career, in our profession, in our relationships, we have always been listening, or we have been told by other people that this is the good thing in you, this is the negative thing in you. And if we are not accept those feedback out of our uh, ego, or out of our ignorance to that positive or the negative statement or the phrases which is comes from our surrounding, our environment where we are living, then we leaving behind the scope of improvement, and we viewing it as a personal attack rather than the tool for growth, for learning, and hindering our improvement. So what is the strategy to overcome this self-limiting belief or the self-worth challenge, or the cultivating the higher self-identity is that cultivating the self-compassion or the self-kindness, like us foster the attitude of kindness and understanding towards ourself is a key thing, recognizing that everyone has a flaws, and that flaws may not the permanent, and we can change and we can adapt, and by cultivating the by cultivating the skill of grit and resilience, we can bounce back, we can come back with whatever the limiting factor we have been imparted on us since long time. And if we think in a real manner, if we are asking the question that is this related to me, is this only happened to me, whether it is 100% to me, yes or no, contemplating, reflecting, and introspecting with the help of any guide, or where you believe in someone, people who have done all these things, overcome that challenge, and following those guidance or the tips, or the channeling new energy, our new thoughts, choices, and action to the new set of efforts, and our skills will may eliminate the factor of being self worth or the self identity.